Okay, fine. The recording has started. So as I can see, there is no issue from my side. Thank you for confirming. And once again, good evening to all. So now I am going to disable the chat section. First, let us discuss about today's questions. So after that, let us discuss about loops. So these are questions, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is our first question. So here in this question, I have assigned a string to a variable, and after that I am performing slicing operation, right? So I am trying to access all the values from index number 1 to 7. So if I say 1 colon 7, then the indexing will start from 1 and it will end at 6. We know this, right? We have discussed this clearly. So which character is stored at index number 1? So at index number 0, H is stored, and at index number 1, E is stored. So now the slicing will start from E and it will end at index number 6. So which character has index number 6? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So W, capital W has index number 6. And also make sure that we should count this empty space also. We are not allowed to ignore the empty space while performing slicing and even indexing. A index number will be assigned to empty space also. So don't ignore the empty space while performing slicing. So the answer will be from character E to capital W. So only 55% students got this question correct. So this is how we perform slicing. If I say 1 colon 7 means it starts from 1 and it will end at 6. It won't go until 7. It will end at 6 itself. And also don't ignore the empty spaces. They are also considered as a character in case of strings. So the next question is here the correct answer is error because here I am performing indexing operation, right? But these are set. A is a set. And we know that we are not allowed to perform indexing operation on sets. So 39% got this right, got this wrong, and only 50% got this question correct answer. So here the thing is, I have clearly told you that in case of sets, we are not allowed to perform indexing and slicing. Why? Because in sets, our Python interpreter will store all the elements in random memory locations. So as all the elements are stored in random memory locations, I can't perform indexing or slicing in sets. In list and tuples, of course, we can perform, but in case of sets, we are not allowed to perform indexing and slicing. So you should not confuse among questions like this. As you can see here, it's a set. If I am trying to perform indexing on a set, then of course the answer is error. So you should not confuse. You should first look at the question carefully, whether this is a list or set or tuple. And the next question is, so these are if else blocks. So here I have declared a variable called x and I am assigning a value of 55 to this variable. Now the first condition is if x is less than or equal to 55. So here this condition itself is passing, right? So first condition itself is becoming true. So wow will be printed and the code present inside my else and else block will be ignored. So wow is the answer for this question. And 77% people got this right. So wow is the correct answer. Nice is not the correct answer. Even though is equal to 5, x is not equal to 5, right? Anyways. So the correct answer is wow. So the next question is, so here I have declared a variable called I and I am assigning a value of 99 to this variable. So the first if condition is if I is greater than or equal to 99. So yes, this is true. 99 is greater than or equal to 99. So now the code present inside my if block will get executed. So inside my if block, again I am having a nested if condition here. So what is that condition? I am checking that I is equal to 99 or not. So 99, the value of I is 99, right? So 99 is equal to 99. So this if condition, this nested if condition is also becoming true. So the code present inside my nested if block will get executed. So I will get output as amazing, and the code present inside these two else block will get ignored by our Python interpreter because the condition after if keyword is becoming true. So if the condition after if keyword is becoming true means, of course, the code present inside if block will be executed. So I will get amazing as answer. So around 80% got this question right. And here only 47% got this question right. So here it is a dictionary, right? They are key value pairs. So it is a D is a dictionary now. I am accessing key here. So one is my key. So here first the I am first I am having a key called one and value to that key is one. Again I am having a key called two and value to that key is TWO2. Then again I am assigning value of 3 to the key 1. So now this first key and value pair will be deleted from my dictionary. So as I am changing the value of the key 1 again in the dictionary, so the previous key value pair will be deleted. So this one will be invalid now. So whenever I try to access the value which is present in key 1, then I will get output as 3. So 3 is the correct answer because here I am updating the value of key 1 and around 13% has selected 2. 2 is invalid because it is dictionary. I am not performing indexing here. Inside dictionary, I am trying to access a value with the help of key. So here 1 is my key. It is not index number because it is a dictionary. In dictionaries, we don't perform indexing. We only access the values with the help of keys only. So here 1 is a key and the value of this key 1 is 3 because here in the third element position I am changing the value of key 1 to 3. Previously it was only 1 but now it is THREE3. So the correct answer to this question is 3, not ONE1 or TWO2. So like this, here whenever I am changing the value of a key in the future in dictionary, then the previous key value pair will become invalid. It will be automatically deleted from the dictionary. So remember that point. So here this question, here I have declared a variable x and I am assigning a value of 150 to this variable x. So here I am using logical AND operator, right? So what will this logical AND operator do? If both the conditions are true means then it will return true. If any one condition is also failing means then this logical AND operator will return me false. So here the value of x is 150, right? So 150 is greater than 140. Yes, true. The next condition 150 is less than 150. No, false. 150 is equal to 150 but not less than 150. So the second condition is false here. So true and false is again false only because this is logical and. So the correct answer to this question is false. So the next question is here I am performing set intersection operation. So I have declared two sets called S1 and S2 and I have clearly explained you about intersection function. So if I say S1 dot intersection of S2, what will happen? So the common element present inside my both sets will be returned. So what are the common elements present in both sets? 3, 4, right? Because 3, 4 is present in set 1 and also 3, 4 is present in set 2. So while performing intersection operation, the common elements present in both sets I will get as output. So intersection will return the common elements which are present in both sets. So 3, 4 is the answer. So next here I am using superset function, right? So what is the job of superset function? So here I am checking S1 is superset of S2 or not. So first thing I know that this will either return true or false as answer. So I am having a set called S1 and again I am having a set called S2. So here have a look at this set S2. The elements present inside my set S2 are 3, 4 and these two elements are also present in my set S1. So S1 is superset of my S2. If I am having all the elements which are present in S2 and if those elements are present in S1 also, then S1 will be called as superset and S2 is subset here. So if I say S1 dot E superset of S2 means I will get true as answer. So I hope you understood this point. Here I am having two elements 3, 4 and these two elements are present in S1 also. And so S1 is called as superset and S2 is called as subset. So here the next thing is yesterday I have explained you about this L strip function. L strip means left strip. So basically this lstrip function will delete all the empty spaces from the beginning of the string, right? So here there is one empty space before my character h. So this one empty space will get deleted. So what will be present after deletion of this one empty space? H, and after that again I am having one more empty space here. So if I say len of h, then I am having a alphabet h. After that I am having empty space. So 2 will be the answer. Most of you have chosen 1. So 1 is not the answer because after h I am having one more empty space. With the help of lstrip function, I am only deleting the empty space from the beginning of the string. If I say or strip, then my Python interpreter will delete all the empty spaces from the end of the string. If I just say strip, then my Python interpreter will delete the empty spaces both from the beginning and from the end of the string. So as I'm using lstrip function here, which means left strip, so here the empty space from the beginning of my string will be deleted. So if the empty space is getting deleted means then I will be having character h, and after that I will be having an empty space. So now the length of the string s is 2, not 1. So this is our last question. So have a look at this question carefully. So here 10.56 is not a float because I am enclosing this 10.56 with double quotes. As I am enclosing them with double quotes, this 10.56 will be considered as a string now. It is not an integer. Now this 10.56 is string. Why? Because I am enclosing this with double quotes. So if I try to convert this string into integer, I will get an error. Why? Because here there is a floating point value, right? So this point will be considered as a special character, and when I try to convert a string with special characters, I will get as an error. I have explained you about this clearly. Whenever I try to convert a integer, whenever I try to convert a string into integer, if any special characters or alphabets or empty spaces are present inside that string means I will get an error. So if it is only 10 means, of course, I will get 10 as 10 will convert into integer. There is no issue. As I am saying 10.56, so this point is a special character. So my Python interpreter will not convert this point into integer. It will throw an error. So make sure that while converting a string into integer, always make sure that in case if any alphabets or spaces or special characters are present inside that string means I will get an error. Only numbers are present like 10, 500, 5,000. Like only numbers like this are present means then it will be successfully converted into integer. In case if any special character is present means I will get error as output. So here I am trying to print type of x. Of course, in the first line itself I am going to get an error, so the second line will not get executed. So these are today's quiz questions. If you have any doubts you can ask me now. I have enabled the chat section for a few seconds. If you have any doubts in today's questions, you can ask me. If you have any confusions, then also you can ask me. Okay, Ramakrishna is saying clear, fine. Priya is saying I didn't get this one. Maybe you might have entered wrong email ID, that's the reason. Okay, thank you for confirming. Most of the students are saying clear. Okay, fine. I have disabled the chat section. So Pushparaj is asking what is the output of the below code. Error is output of that code because it is not possible to perform indexing on set. A is a set and I am not allowed to perform indexing on set. So answer to that question is error. I have explained that. And can you explain the dictionary problem once again, sir? So what is the dictionary problem? So this one, I think this is the dictionary problem. So here I am trying to access the value of key 1. So I am trying to access the value which is stored in key 1. So what is stored in key 1? 3. 3 is stored in key 1, right? So I will get output as 3. That's it. I won't get output as 1 because previously the value of my key 1 is only 1. Now I am changing that to 3. So this key value pair, this only 1 key value pair will be invalid now. it will get automatically deleted from my dictionary. Now the new key value pair is 1 colon three. So whenever I try to access the value which is stored in key 1, I will get output as three. I won't get output as one. So I hope you understood this. Fine. If you haven't got result means probably the answer is you might have entered the wrong email ID. Anyways, no problem. So now let us start our discussion about loops. Let me create a new folder called day 12 and I am going to open VS Code inside this folder. So here I am going to create a file called as loops.py, like the interpreter. That's it, right? You don't have any doubts in that quiz right now. I have enabled the chat section. If you have any more doubts, you can ask me now itself. Because from now onwards, we are going to start another new topic. We have completed conditional statements like if, if else. We have discussed about nested if. We have completed all the data types available in Python, like listed, tuple, set. Okay. Okay, fine, Nagraj, you can text me personally in WhatsApp. I will tell you your score. So, Mohammed, I think it is not possible to cover pandas and numpy topics. I will try to cover anyway. Let us see. Okay, fine. I have disabled the chat section. Top marks. I think someone has got 10 out of 10. Fine. So now let us discuss about loops. So first, before discussing about loops, why do we need loops? So in case here I am having a requirement. Here my requirement is I need to print hello world on my terminal for 5 times. How can I do that? I can simply say print hello world and I can copy this line till 5 times. Now if I run this program, you can see here I got hello world 5 times on my output screen. Let me show this. So you can see here on the terminal, I got hello world 5 times. Fine. In case now if I want to print hello world for 1,000 times, how can I do that? Simply I can copy and paste for 1,000 lines, right? So here in case if I want to repeat a particular block of code again and again, then we use loops. So the definition of loops is if we want to execute a block of code again and again means then we use loops. So this is the basic definition of loops. So here the concept is if I want to execute a specific block of code again and again means then I will use loops. So here there are two types of loops available in Python. They are while loop and for loop. In our today's class, we are going to discuss about while loops. So now I hope you all are clear with the definition of loops. So what is meant by loop? If I want to or if we want to execute a block of code again and again, then we will use loops. So here, if I want to execute a particular or if I want to execute a specific block of code up to 100 times or 200 times, then I am going to use loops. So first in today's class, let us discuss about while loop. Now the syntax is important, right? For any concept, we need syntax because it is like grammar. So as if I want to speak proper English language, then I need to follow proper grammar, right? Similarly, if I want to write correct programming, then I need to follow proper syntax. So here the syntax of while loop is first the while keyword. In case of if else conditions, we use if and else keywords, right? Similarly, in case of while loop, the first thing is we use while keyword. After that condition. So why do we need this condition? So at some case, I want to terminate my loop, right? I don't want to execute my specific block of code until infinity. I don't want to execute my block of code infinite times. I want to terminate on a specific condition. So if this condition is becoming false means my loop will get terminated. Let us discuss this. Don't worry, you will understand clearly. So as like always, as an after condition, I need to use this colon, and after colon, we know that we need to give four indentation spaces. So here after while keyword and condition in the below line, I need to give four indentation spaces. This is mandatory. If I am not giving these four spaces means then I will get error. I will get syntax error. So it doesn't matter whether it is if block or else block or elif block or while block or even for block. So here we give indentation space. According to the syntax of Python, after colon there should be four empty spaces, and we call that empty spaces as indentation space. So I have explained this clearly while explaining about if block itself. Anyways, I'm just repeating that. That's it. So now let us write a simple loop here. So in case now my requirement is I want to print hello world for 100 times. So I can say while. So here the first thing is here I want to execute hello world for 100 times, right? So I need to give a condition, something like this. While the value of I is less than or equal to 100, then in the below line, I have given four indentation spaces, and inside that while block, I am printing hello world. Now, if I run this program, I will get an error. Why? Because here I am using a variable called I. I haven't declared this variable so far. So before using while loop, I need to make sure that I am declaring this variable above my while loop. So here, if I say I equal to 1, now have a look at this condition. So initially the value of I is equal to 1, right? So 1 is less than or equal to 100. Yes, the condition is true. If the condition is becoming true means the code present inside my while block will get executed. So I will get output as hello world. Similarly, again now what is the value of I? Again the value of I is 1 itself. So now again hello world will get printed. Now after that what is the value of I again? Again it is 1 itself. So again my hello will get printed. So similarly if I run this program means I will get hello world on my terminal up to infinite times because I am not changing the value of I inside my loop. Throughout this program, the value of I is 1 itself. Initially, I have declared I equal to 1, and here my requirement is I need to print hello world 100 times. That's it. Now, if I run this program, hello world will get printed up to infinite times. Why? Because here I am not changing the value of I. Throughout my program, the value of I is 1 itself, and 1 is always less than or equal to 100. So hello world will get printed up to infinite times. And we also call it as infinite loop. So this is infinite loop. So let me comment out this so that you can understand the concept of infinite loop. So this is the infinite loop. I am not going to execute this loop because if I execute this, I know what will happen. So the hello, I will get hello world on my terminal up to infinite times. So we need to ignore infinite loops. How can we solve this issue? The answer is again simple. So here inside my loop, I need to change the value of I. That's it. Similarly, I can say I equal to I plus 1. So what is meant by I equal to I plus equal to 1? This is the assignment increment operator, right? So line number 20 is equal to line number 21. So inside a loop, at each step, I am incrementing the value of I. If you are from Java background, then there in case of C and Java, we use I++. But this I++ is not allowed in Python. Instead, we use I plus equal to 1. So with the help of this increment assignment operator, at each step, I am incrementing the value of I by 1. So now let us trace out the program. Initially, the value of I is 1. 1 is less than or equal to 100. Condition is true. So now the code present inside my while block will get executed. So initially I will get hello world as output, and after that I am incrementing the value of I. So initially the value of I was 1, now it was 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, right? So now the value of I is 2. Now again check the condition. 2 is less than or equal to 100. Yes, true. Now hello world will get printed. Now the value of I is 2. What is 2 plus 1? 3. So again check the condition. 3 is less than or equal to 100. Yes, it is true. So the code present inside my while block will get executed. I will get hello world as output. Now the value of I is 3. What is 3 plus 1? 4. So again check 4 is less than or equal to 100. So like this my loop will continue. At some case I value will become 100. Now if 100 is less than or equal to 100, yes, 100 is equal to 100. So again the code present inside my while block will get executed. I will get hello world on terminal. And now as I value is already 100, what is 100 plus 1? 101, right? So now check the condition. 101 is not less than or equal to 100. 101 is greater than 100. Now the condition after my while keyword will fail. It will become false. Now my while loop will get terminated automatically. Now the code present inside my while block will not get executed. Now the Python interpreter will continue the rest of the program. So whatever the code which is present after line number 21, you can see here at line number 20, my while loop is that's the end of my while loop because i- until line number 20 only I am giving indentation space. If I am giving indentation space means then only that piece of code will belong to while block. If I am not giving indentation space means then that code will not come inside while block. Now I can simply print as end here. So now this print function, which is printing end, does not belong to my while block because I am not giving indentation spaces here. In case if I am giving indentation space here like this means this end also now will belong to while block. So after once the condition here is failing means after while keyword, now the code present inside my while block will not get executed and my Python interpreter will continue the execution of rest of the program. So whatever the code which is present after my while block, that code will be executed now. So what is the code present after while block here? Simply one print function, which will print end. So after printing hello world 100 times, I will get end as final output. So if I run this program, you can see here hello world has got printed 100 times. So how can we check? Simply after hello world, I can print the value of I, right? So here I know that I can separate the string and the integer. Here I is integer and hello world is a string. Inside my print function, I can separate a string and integer with the help of comma. So if I run this program, you can see here now you can see here initially hello world 1, hello world 2. So you can see here like this the value of I is incrementing at each step. So like this the while loop works in Python. You can see here 77, 99, finally hello world 100. So in case if I want to execute a particular block of code again and again, then I will use loops. So let me add two more things inside my while loop. First thing is code. After code, I need to specify increment or decrement. So before while loop, it is mandatory to mention a variable and value. So this is the actual syntax of while loop. So here we are performing increment, which is fine. So what is this decrement now? We can also use I minus equal to 1, but for that we need to change the condition over here. Let us see how we can do that. So let me comment out this. So now again I want to print the value, again I want to print hello world 100 times on my terminal. This time I am assigning 100 to the variable I. Now my condition is while I is greater than or equal to 1, then print hello world. What is the condition here? I am checking now whether the value of I is greater than or equal to 1 or not. We can use any one method. It's up to us. We can use either this first method also. We are performing increment here, or we can use decrement also. I can here say I minus equal to 1. So we can use any one method. It's up to us. So here what is decrement means for initially the value of I is 100. So check out the condition 100 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, true. 100 is greater than 1. So the code present inside my while block will be executed. I will get hello world as output. Now what is the value of I? 100. What is 100 minus 1? 99. So again check the condition. 99 is greater than or equal to 1. True. So the code present inside my while block will be executed. Now the value of I is 99. So what is 99 minus 1? 98. Again check the condition. 98 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, true. So the code present inside my while block will be executed. So what is 90? I is 98 now. What is 98 minus 1? 97. So is 97 greater than or equal to 1? True. So again the code will be executed. So like this, after some time, the value of I will become 2. So what is 2 minus 2 minus 1? 1. So is 1 greater than or equal to 1? Yes, 1 is equal to 1. So again the code present inside my while block will be executed. I will get hello world as output. So now the value of I is 1. So what is 1 minus 1? 0. So now check the condition. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1? No, false. 0 is less than 1, not greater than or equal to 1. So now the condition after my while keyword is failing. Now the code present inside my while block will not get executed. So after this, my Python interpreter will continue the execution of rest of the program. So whatever the code which is present after my while block, it will be executed now. I can say end here. So if I run this program, let me print the value of I also here. So what will happen? Hello world 100, hello world 99, hello world 98. Like this, I am going to get output now. You can see here. So I am getting the output as expected. Hello world 100, 99, 98, 97. It is decrementing now. Hello world 1. And after that, I am getting end as output. So we can either use increment operator like this, or else we can use decrement operator also. But it totally depends upon the condition after while keyword. Here, the value of I is greater initially. In case of increment operator, the value of I is smaller. So I am performing increment here. Now, in this case, at line number 25, the value of I is already greater. So I need to perform decrement. So depending upon my requirement, I need to give some condition here. So depending upon this condition, the code present inside my while block will be executed. So this is the concept of while loop in Python. So I am going to enable the chat section. If you have any doubts regarding while loop or the concept loops, you can ask me. You can see here there is no one in waiting room. Some people will text me personally like, sir, I am unable to join the class. You can see here there is no one in waiting room. Two people has raised their hand, Madhu Verma and Kalyan Reddy. If you have any doubts, you can text me now. No, no, Lakshmi, it is not compulsory. I have just placed that end print statement or print function so that you can understand the concept of loop. So here, this end is not mandatory. I have just placed this end function because after completion of while loop, the rest of the program will begin to execute. So I want to just show that. So whatever the code present after my while block will be executed after completion of while loop. To show that I have placed this end, it is not mandatory. A lot of people are asking me to explain while loop, and some people are asking me to explain loops once again. So here the concept is in loops, if I want to execute a block of code again and again, then we will use loops. So there are two types of loops in Python, while loop and for loop. So the first type of loop is while loop. So in case of while loop, have a look at this. So now here my requirement is I want to print hello world 100 times. So that's my requirement. So according to my requirement, initially I have declared a variable I whose value is 1. Fine. Now I need to check whether the value of I is less than or equal to 100. So until my value of I is less than or equal to 100, the code present inside my while block will be executed. Let me repeat once again. Until the value of I is less than or equal to 100, the code present inside my while block will be executed. So in here, initially it is 1, right? So 1 is less than or equal to 100. So the code present inside my while block will be executed. I will get hello world as output. Now here I am incrementing the value of I. What will happen if I don't increment? Simply my loop will execute until infinite. So there is no end to my loop. One will be always less than or equal to 100. So this condition is always true. So if I am not using this increment operator means, then my code will get executed until infinite times. So in order to avoid that infinite loop, I need to make sure that I am using either increment or decrement operator. So here in this case, I am using increment operator. So after completion of execution of ones, so first the value of I is 1. Now the value of I becomes 2 because 1 plus 1 is 2, right? So 2 is also less than 100. So the code present inside the while loop will be executed again. So now I is 2. So what is 2 plus 2? 2 plus 2 is, sorry, what is 2 plus 1? 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 is also less than or equal to 100. So again, the code present inside my while loop will be executed. So again, what is 3 plus 1? 4. So like this, 4 is also less than or equal to 100. So again, this code will be executed. Like this, it will continue until the I value becomes 101. At some case, I will become 101, right? So here 101 is not less than or equal to 100. 101 is greater than 100. So in case if I is 101 means this condition will fail. Now the while loop will be terminated. The code present inside my while loop will not get executed now. So now my pattern interpreter will execute whatever the code present after my while loop. So it will start execution from line number 23 now. So I hope you understood the concept of while loop now. If I want to execute a block of code again and again, I will use loops. So that's the concept of loop. Okay, I hope you understood the concept of while loop now. Now here we are going to do one interesting thing. So here I am going to, uh, we know how to take a string as input from user. By default, we can use input function, but that input function will by default take string as input, right? We have discussed that. Now we will see how can we take a list as input from user. Okay. So do while loop. We don't have do while loop in Python. I am getting doubt now. Do we have do while loop in Python? And see here, Python doesn't have do while loop. I'm right. So with while loop, we can also use else block. I will discuss that after discussing about break statement. Don't worry about that now. Square numbers program. Yes, okay, fine. Today let us see the square of numbers program. If you are getting less score in test means don't worry. Try to get good marks next time. How to print the results side by side. Okay, I have already told you this. One second, I will explain. Fine. So now first let us see. The time is 8 o'clock, right? First let us see. Let us store some numbers inside a list. Now this time let us take those numbers from user instead of directly assigning list like this. So so here I am assigning directly a list to the variable. Now instead of directly assigning a list to a variable like this, let us take list from user. And after that, user will enter some numbers inside that list and let us try to find out the square of those numbers. So Rupa Reddy is asking to find square of numbers program. Now let us see that. So I'm going to create a new file called, let me, name of the file is list input operation or list square py. The first step is I need to declare empty list. Now I am going to take inputs one by one from the user inside this list. All right. So first I am going to ask user that how many numbers is he going to enter in the list. So first we need to know that, right? So first I am going to ask nums or just n equal to int of input, enter the length of the list. We know that what is meant by length of list, right? Length is nothing but total number of elements present inside a list. So here our program is, the first thing is take list as input from user To be more specific, take elements of list as input from user, and after that perform where operation on list elements and display the output. So these are our tasks now. The first task is we need to take elements of list from user. Instead of directly assigning elements like this, we are going to take input from user. So initially I have declared the empty list, and as a first step I am asking user, so how many elements are you going to enter? If he says 5, then I am going to take 5 numbers from the user. If he says 10, then I am going to take 10 numbers from the user. So how can I take that? Simply I can say element equal to int of input enter element. And after that, my next step is if he enters a number, then that number will be now stored in my element variable, right? So I need to add this element variable to my list. So what I can do, I can use append function, right? So as I'm adding only single element here, I can use append function. So at each step, the element present, so the element or the value which user enters will be added to my list. So I can say lst.append element. Now have a look at this program. With the help of line number 7 and 8, I can take only one element as an input from the user. In case at line number 5, if user wants to enter 5 elements, I can simply use loops now, right? I can do something like this. So while the value of n is greater than or equal to 1, then execute this program and also decrement the value of n. So now let us trace out this program. What will happen? Now let us consider first user is entering 5 as input. So 5 will be stored in my variable n. Fine. Now check out the while condition. So 5 is greater than or equal to 1. Yes, true. So 5 is greater than or equal to 1. It is true. So now the code present inside my while block will be executed, right? So I am taking here I can say so fine. So here I am going to take first one element from the user. So enter element will be displayed on my terminal. So when the user enters the element, that element will be stored inside my element variable. Fine. So now I am going to add that element to my list with the help of append function. All right. As the next step, I am decrementing the value of n. So initially the value of n was 5. What is 5 minus 1? 4. So now check the condition. Is 4 greater than or equal to 1? Yes, true. So again, I am going to take input from the user. So now the user will be allowed to enter element one more time. So whatever the element or value he is entering, that will be stored in my element variable. Again, I am appending that element to my list. Now again, the value of n is now 4. What is 4 minus 1? 3. So again, check the condition. 3 is greater than or equal to 1. True. So like this loop will continue until the value of n becomes 0. In case if the value of n, at future, at some point, as I am performing decrement operation here, at some point the value of n will become 0, right? So now 0 is greater than or equal to 1? No, false. So now this condition will become false and the code present inside my while block will not get executed now. So if the value of n is 5 means the code present inside my while block will get executed 5 times. So it is going to take 5 inputs from the user and I am appending all those 5 elements to my list. So like this we can take list as input from all the elements of list as input from user. Instead of giving some random values, I can do something like this. So if I print list here, run this program. So initially I am going to enter 5 as input. So it is asking me enter element. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now you can see here I have entered 5 elements. After successfully entering 5 elements, I got my list as output because I am printing here list now at line number 11. So you can see here these are the elements inside my list now. I hope you understood how we can take input from user now. So here I am using the basic input function itself. I am taking input from the user with the help of this input function. So initially it will be in string format. So I am converting that into integer with the help of typecasting. Now I am assigning that integer to a variable called element, and I am appending that element to my list. I am repeating this thing for 5 times because here the user has entered 5 as input, right? So he want to here the length of the list is 5, which means he is going to enter 5 elements in the next step. So I need to run this loop 5 times. So based upon that, I am using a condition here. That's it. Whenever the value of n becomes 0, then this loop will be terminated. If I run this program once again, and this time if I enter 2, and it will ask, the loop will now run for only 2 times. The loop will execute only 2 times now. If I enter 20, that's it. Now you can see here I got only 2 elements in my list now. So I hope you understood the concept of taking as input from the user with the help of loop. So now the next thing is we need to perform square operation, right? So for that again I can use loop. So here I can simply say while the length of, or else let me declare a variable called I here. Initially the value of I is 1, while the length of list is, I can say while the value of I is less than or equal to length of list. And I am going to increment the value of I here. What is happening here? Initially the value of I is 1. I am checking with this with the length of list. I know what the length function will do. So this length function will return the count of total elements present inside my list. So basically len of LST and this value again, they both are same. They both are storing the length of list. That's it. So here, if I say length of list, or else I can simply say n also here. I won't get any error, but let it be the length of list so that you can easily understand. So if I say len of list, in case if user is entering 5 elements inside my list means now the len of list is 5, right? So what is the value of I? Initially it was 1. So 1 is less than or equal to 5. True. Now the code present inside my while loop will be executed. Now check. Now I am incrementing the value of I. So what is 1 plus 1? 2. 2 is also less than or equal to 5. So again the code present inside my while loop will be executed. Now what is 2 plus 1? 3. So like this, my loop will continue until the value of I becomes 6. So if the value of I is becoming 6 means, then 6 is not less than or equal to 5. So now the while loop will not get executed. So that's the point here. So here I am going to declare another list called square nums. And initially it is going to be empty list. And inside this square nums, I'm going to perform an append operation. What am I going to add? At each step, I am going to add the square of each and every element. So how to access the I know how to access the element with the help of index number, right? So yeah, here I can say square equal to LSP of I. Here the value of I is changing at each step. I can't use 0 here. If I say 0, then inside this loop, until this loop executes, my program will access only the element 0. So I can't say 0 here. Instead, I need to use I. If I use index number I means initially the value of I is 1. So first it will access the element which is stored at index number 1. Now the next step the value of I is 2. So it will access the element which is stored at index number 2. So at third step the I is 3. So it will access the element which is stored at index number 3, like this. So I need to perform square, right? So I can use exponential operator. This is the arithmetic operator, we know this. So if I say star star 2, then it will perform square operation. So after performing square operation, I need to append this square variable to my square nums list. And finally, I need to print square nums. So don't worry, once again, I will explain this entire program. And also there is one more thing here. Here initially the value of I is 1 and it is going until 5, right? So here I need to make sure that I am using I minus 1 here because in Python indexing starts from 0, not from 1. So the index number of first element is 0. So I need to use I minus 1 here. So at last step, the value of I will be 5. 5 is less than or equal to 5, true. So what is LST of 5 minus 1? 5 minus 1 is 4, right? So I know that if the length is 5 means the last index number is length minus 1, which is 5 minus 1, 4. So I need to use I minus 1 here if I run this program, and if I enter 5 elements like 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Now you can see here at output I got what is 2 power 2, 4. Let me print the list also. Let me run this program once again. 5. Let me expand this terminal. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Now you can see here this was my list initially 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Now here I am performing the square operation. So while printing the square nums list, I got this output. What is 2 power 2? 4. 4 power 2, 16. 6 square 36. 8 square 64. 9 square 81. So like this my program will work. Once again I will explain this entire program. So first I am going to take the elements of list from the user. So I have declared the empty list here. First I am asking the user to enter the length of the list. If he enters 5 means I am going to take 5 elements as input from user. So here I need to execute these two lines again and again. So I am using the concept of while loop here. So until the value of n is greater than or equal to 1, I am going to execute this loop again and again. So initially the value of if user enters 5 means 5 will be stored in variable n. So 5 is greater than or equal to 1. True, the code present inside this block will be executed. So I am taking an input from the user and I am appending that element to the list which I have declared here at line number 4. Now here I am performing decrement operation. So this loop will continue until the value of n becomes 0. If n is becoming 0 means 0 is not greater than or equal to 1. So now this loop will not execute. Now whatever the code present after my loop will start execution now. So here I am printing the list. So you can see here these are the elements 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. These are the elements which I have taken from the user. So again I need to perform square operation on those elements, right? So I am declaring a new list here. So here first I need to perform square operation on each and every element. I know with the help of index numbers I can access each and every element, right? So here initially I have declared a variable called square, and this is my list LST. And what is the value of I? Initially it was 1. So I know that index numbers start from 0, not from 1. So I need to use minus 1 here. I am decrementing the value of I each time here. So if the value of I is 1 means what is 1 minus 1? 0. So with the help of this, the value which is stored at index number 0, which is stored at index number 0, 2, right? So now 2 will present, 2 will come here. What is 2 power 2? 4. So 4 will be stored in my square variable, and I am appending that square variable to my new list, which is square numbers. So now 4 will be added to my list. Again, I am performing increment operator. So initially the value of I was 1. What is 1 plus 1? 2. So is 2 is less than or equal to 5? Yes. So again the code present inside my while block will be executed. So I is 2 now. What is 2 minus 1? 1, right? So now what is the element which is stored at index number 1? 4. You can check out the terminal. 4 is stored at index number 1. So what is 4 power 2? 4 for the 16, right? No, 16 will be stored inside my square variable. Now I am appending the square variable to my list. So like this, I can append my with the help of append function. Now 16 will be added to my list. Again, I am performing increment operation. So after some time, now the value of I will become 5. I know that the length of my list is 5, right? So 5 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, 2. So now the value of I is 5, right? What is 5 minus 1? 4. So which element is stored at index number 4? In this list in the terminal you can see 9 is stored at index number 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see 9 is stored at index position 4. So what is 9 power 2? 81. 81 will be stored in my square variable. Now I am adding the square variable to my square numbers list. So 81 will be added to my list, right? So now value of I is 5, right? What is 5 plus 1? 6. If 6 is less than or equal to 5, no. This condition will become false now. So the code present inside this file block will not get executed. Now my Python interpreter will execute whatever the code which is present after my while block. So what is the code present after while block? I am simply printing the square nums. I am simply printing the square numbers list here. As at each step, I am appending the square to the square numbers. If I run this program here once again, If I enter 3 this time, 2, comma 3, comma 4, you can see here in the square numbers list, I am getting output as 4, comma 9, comma 16. So like this, you can take input from the user and you can store inside a list. And also you can perform operations on a list with the help of while loop. So I hope you understood this. If you have any confusions, you can ask me now. I have enabled the chat section. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. So fine, I think I got two responses from Priya and okay, three responses. Priya, Rupa and Sujit, they are saying clear. Lakshmi is asking what is meant by append. Are you following my classes seriously? Append is a built-in function in list. We have discussed this while discussing about built-in functions of list. So append function will add one element at the end of the list. So that's the job of append function. You can check out the recorded session. I have clearly explained what is the purpose of append function in list. Nagaraj, here we are entering the values, right? After running the program, first I need to enter the length of list. If I say 4 means, now this while loop will be executed. So in this while loop, it will get executed until the value of n becomes 1. So initially I am entering 4. So 4 is inside my variable n. So this will be executed until n becomes 1. So it was initially 4. After the execution of this loop one time, I am performing decrement here. So what is 4 minus 1? 3. So again, after it will take one more element from the user. What is 3 minus 1? 2. 2 is also greater than or equal to 1. So again, it will take one more element from the user. So here we are entering the elements manually. I can say 50, 40, 50, 60. You can see here, I am getting squares of these numbers now 50, 40, 50, and again 60. Yes, of course, Prasad. If we take I as 0, then we don't need to use I minus 1 there. It's totally up to us. So here, if the value of I is 0 means, then I don't want to use I minus 1 here. But I need to change the condition over here. I need to use only I is less than or equal to 1. So like this also I will extend this program also once again. With the help of this condition and with the help of I equal to 0, I will explain this loop once again so that you all can clearly understand. So I hope you all are clear with how we are taking input from the user. So I hope you all are clear with the first while loop. Now let us discuss about second while loop. So now consider the length of LST is 5, which means there are 5 elements present inside my list. User has entered 5 elements. All right. So length of LST is now 5. So initially the value of I is 0. So is 0 less than 5? True. 0 is less than 5. So I am trying to access the element which is stored at index number 0. The value of I is 0, right? So LST of 0 means I will get the value which is stored at index number 0. So in case 50 is stored at index number 0 means what is 50 power 2? 2500, right? So 2500 will be stored in my square variable. Now after that, I am appending this square variable to my new list. What is my new list? Square numbers, right? Now here, of course, I am incrementing the value of I to 1. So initially it was 0. What is 0 plus 1? 1, right? So is 1 is less than 5? Yes, 1 is less than 5. Again, this program will get executed. Like this program will get executed until the value of I becomes 5. So at some case, after incrementing continuously, the value of I becomes 5, right? So is 5 less than 5? No, false. 5 is not less than 5. 5 is equal to 5. It is not less than 5. So the condition over here fails and the code present inside this block will not get executed now. In case it is 4 means 4 is less than 5. True. So what is LST of 4? So whatever the value which is present at index number 4 will be returned here. So I am performing the square operation with that number and I am assigning that result to square variable and I am appending that square variable to my square numbers list. So whenever the value of I becomes 5 now, my while loop will get terminated automatically because the condition over here will fail. 5 is not less than 5. And finally, I am printing the square numbers list also. If I run this now, if I enter 5 as input, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see here, these are the squares of the numbers which are present inside my LST list. So the square of 1 is 1, 23 is 5, 29, 4 is 16, 5 is 25, and 6 is 36. So I hope you clearly understood this. And one more thing, let me print the square numbers inside this while loop. Let us see what will happen now. Now instead of printing the square numbers after while loop, now I will print this inside while loop. Now you can see at each step one by one element will get added to my list. If I run this program, if I enter 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see here. So initially I am printing the value, I am printing LST here. So I got 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5 as LST. Why? Because I am entering 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5 as input elements, right? So those elements are stored inside my list now. So I got that list on output. So initially what is happening here now? I have declared an empty list called square numbers. So I am performing the square operation on first element of list, which is the element stored at index number 0, right? So 1 is stored at index number 0. So 1 power 2 is 1 because 1 into 1 is 1. I am adding 1 to my square numbers list and I am printing that square numbers list here. So initially, there is only one element in my square numbers list. At second loop, now, what is stored at index number 1? Now, the value of I is 1, right? So, at index number 1, 2 is stored. So, what is 2 power 2? 4. So, 4, I am appending 4 to my square numbers list. Now, if I print the square numbers list, you can see here at output I got 1, comma 4. Similarly, at third step, I will get output as 1, comma 4, comma 9. So, like this, my loop will execute. If I print outside my loop, I will get output only one time. If I print this inside my loop, simply I need to give 4 indentation spaces. That's it. To make this print statement inside my loop, I need to give indentation space here, which means 4 empty spaces. That's it. If I am giving 4 empty spaces before this print function means it will belong to my while loop now. If I am not giving 4 empty spaces means it will not belong to my while loop. It is separate. So like this, we can find the square of numbers. I hope you understood this. So if you have any more doubts, you can ask me now. So at each step, let me print the value of LST of I also. If I say print LST of I, initially let us see what will happen. I am printing LST of I here. Initially the I is 0, next I is 1, next I is 2. No. So first the element which is stored at index number 0 will get printed. After that the element which is stored at index number 1 will get printed. So if I run this program, if I enter 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see here initially 1 got printed, then 2 got printed, then 3 got printed. So like this I am accessing the elements from my list one by one. So instead of directly giving an index number here like 1 or 2, I am giving here I. Why? Because the value of I is changing inside my loop constantly, right? Initially I was 0, after that I was 1, after that I was 2. So as the value of I is changing constantly in my loop, I am giving LST of I here. So I am accessing the value which is stored at ith index, which is stored at ith index. The value of I is changing here constantly. I hope you understood this. If you have any more doubts, you can ask me. I hope now you are clear with while loop. Like this, we can take input from user with the help of loops. We can take multiple inputs from the user, and we can perform operations on list with the help of while loop like this. Patterns. We will discuss about patterns in upcoming days. Is my teaching speed today? Or do you have any confusion in understanding my teaching? You can let me know. Yesterday, some people told me that, and also in the feedback form, I have seen that some people sent me reply as, your teaching is too much speed, the class is too speed, like that. You can tell me. Otherwise, you can submit your feedback in Google Forms if you have any issues. You are not going to enter your name or email ID over there, so you can submit your genuine feedback. I can see. So no, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you for confirming. So fine, I will stop today's recording. If you have any more doubts, you can ask me. Yeah, Satish, Nagaraju, thank you. So before stopping recording, let me explain one more thing. So today I am going to share you one Google form. There you need to enter some basic details like your name, your email ID. Make sure that you are entering your correct email ID. To that email ID only, to that email ID only you are going to get your certificate. So enter your proper name, the name as you wanted on certificate. So enter your name, email ID, your contact number, and after that you need to enter your HackerRank profile URL. So how to find HackerRank profile URL means first go to your HackerRank dashboard, log in. So after logging into HackerRank, you will find your dashboard like this. So on the top right corner, you will find profile section here. So click on the drop down and click on profile. I will show this step once again. So after entering into your dashboard, click on that profile, click on this drop down on the top right corner and then click on profile. So after clicking on profile, here on the top on the URL search bar, you can see some URL. Just to copy this URL and paste this URL as answer to that question. So there will be a question called HackerRank URL. So there you need to copy this URL from the search bar and you need to paste that URL there. Okay. And one more question will be, what is your HackerRank username? So your username is here. This is your actual name, and below that, below your name, you will find the at symbol, and after at symbol, you will be having your username. So copy this username and paste there as an answer to that question. Paste the username. So in your profile section, first you need to copy your URL. So you need to paste that URL to the question HackerRank URL. So to the question HackerRank username, you need to paste your username. So your username will be present below your actual name. So copy your username from here and paste your username there. So like this you should submit that Google form. So with the help of that Google form only, I can give you certificates. So whoever not submitting those Google forms will not get certificate. I hope you clearly understood this. Alright, if you have any more doubts, you can ask me regarding today's classes. I am going to stop the recording now.